Today on Rappler, leftist congressman slapped President Aquino with his first impeachment complaint. Investigators finally gain access to the MH17 crash site controlled by Ukrainian rebels. And Jakarta Governor Jokowi leads official tallies in Indonesia's presidential race. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The first valid impeachment complaint is filed against President Benigno Aquino after 4 years in office. At least 28 people signed the document. 3 representatives from the leftist Makabayan bloc endorsed the complaint, accusing Aquino of culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust over his controversial spending program. Aquino faces criticism over the Disbursement Acceleration Program, or DAP, a spending program meant to boost the economy by transferring funds from slow-moving projects to fast-dispersing ones. But the Supreme Court declared several acts under DAP unconstitutional. On July 14th, a combative Aquino slammed the justices for their verdict, saying the decision was, in his words, difficult to understand. Barring technical issues, the House Committee on Justice will be holding its first impeachment hearing against the president. But administration allies doubt any impeachment complaint against the president would prosper. In an unprecedented move, Solicitor General Francis Hardaleza asks the Supreme Court to stop President Aquino from choosing a new Supreme Court justice. Hardaleza was earlier excluded by the Judicial and Bar Council, or JBC, in the short list of nominees to replace retired Justice Roberto Abad. In a petition filed with the court on Friday, Hardaleza asked for 3 things. First, declare Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno and the JBC as having acted in grave abuse of discretion for excluding him. Second, direct the JBC to include him in the short list. And third, issue a restraining order stopping the president from appointing Abad's replacement. Hardaleza's petition is unprecedented. He's effectively asking the Supreme Court to censure the highest official of the land and to block the president from exercising his constitutional mandate. Reacting to the petition, Iloilo Representative Neil Tupas Jr. says Hardaleza should not have gone to the High Court to complain. He says the Solicitor General should have presented his arguments before the JBC. Iglesia ni Cristo begins its week-long Centennial celebration by opening the colossal Philippine arena in Bulacan. Paterno Esmaquiel files this video blog.
They call this place the largest theater on earth. This is the Philippine Arena, a 55,000-seater structure worth 8.7 billion pesos or $200 million. President Benigno Aquino and Iglesia ni Cristo Executive Minister Eduardo V. Manalo unveil it. In time for the Iglesia Centennial on July 27. In his speech, Aquino praises the Iglesia, which elected him as a bloc in 2010.
Malinaw po sa akin, hindi natatapos sa loob ng kapilya ang inyong pagbubuklod at pananampalataya. Dinadalaw rin ninyo ang inyong mga kaanib upang personal silang kamustahin at aktibo po silang hikayatin na makilahok sa mga gawain ng komunidad.
He also uses the event to slam his critics.
Mayroon pong ilan na anuman ang gawin ko, gaya ng pagdalo rito, ay maghahanap pa rin ng pwedeng ibatikos. Palala ko lang sa kanila, kung kapwa ko kayo Kristiyano, tungkulin nating magmahalan sa ngalan ng Panginoon. Sa halip na maghasik ng agam-agam at di pagkakaunawaan.
Other officials and diplomats joined the event.
Hindi lamang para sa kapakanan ng Iglesia, kundi para sa kapakanan din ng ating bayan.
Proof of the Iglesia's clout in the country over the past century. Paterno Esmaquiel, Rappler, Bulacan.
Typhoon Glenda, international name Ramasun, left at least 97 people dead, most of them in Quezon Province. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, says more than 1.6 million people in 7 regions are affected. The typhoon, which hit the Philippines last Tuesday, also left 7.4 billion pesos or $170.4 million in damage to infrastructure and agriculture. Storm signal number 2 is up over Batanes as Typhoon Henry, international name Matmo, moves towards extreme northern Luzon. Cagayan, including the Babuyan and Calayan Islands, remains under signal number 1. State Weather Bureau Pag-asa says the typhoon will bring moderate to heavy rain in Cagayan Valley, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol region, and western Visayas. As of 4 p.m., the typhoon is located 420 kilometers east of Apari, Cagayan. It's expected to leave the Philippine area of responsibility Wednesday afternoon. Check out Rappler's Project Agos microsite. It's a one-stop shop for educating the public about how to better prepare for disasters. You can track the path of Typhoon Henry on it now and report on our live map. Project Agos aims to raise awareness on climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction and management. It can help people prepare, respond, and aid in recovery. Visit www.rappler.com/Project Agos. Government officials, policymakers, and journalists gather to discuss the state of the Freedom of Information, or the FOI Bill, Monday. The public's right to know is the basis of the FOI Bill. Senator Grace Poe keynotes and says technology makes it even more important to pass the law now because of crowdsourcing, what James Suryeki's book calls the wisdom of crowds.
This belief that the collective wisdom of the crowd is superior to the personal judgment of even the most exceptional individual leader lies at the heart and is really the main rationale for the freedom of information.
As the bill's sponsor, Poe argues the controversy surrounding the government spending program shows the need for a law that will improve transparency. Poe adds, if the Philippines had the FOI, the Budget Department would have been compelled to disclose the projects to the public beforehand and not after the fact. The list of projects under the Disbursement Acceleration Program was posted months after the controversy first broke out in September 2013.
The masa is not dumb, and ang Pilipino po ay hindi tanga. Nagmumukha lang tayong tanga dahil kulang tayo sa sapat na impormasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng FOI, mabibigyan po natin sa taong bayan ang kagustuhan nilang mas maintindihan ang kanilang gobyerno. Thus, the true value of the FOI is not only that it will prevent graft and corruption, more importantly, it will teach our people to participate and get involved.
During the panel session, FOI Bill co-author Camarines Sur Representative Leni Robredo admits the House has been, quote, dragging its heels on the bill. Robredo says had the FOI been passed earlier, the degree of corruption in the pork barrel scam might have been prevented.
I think things would have played differently. Because in a sense, government officials would have been more deliberate in identifying projects.
Robredo adds there should be an effort to educate the people. She says the FOI campaign is, quote, sorely lacking when it comes to making it relevant to what people need, including linking it to reducing poverty. Robredo cites the work of her husband, the late Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo, who made transactions in Naga transparent by making constituents understand the impact of these policies on their daily lives.
Only very few village people actually appreciated what that transparency board was for. So the next thing my husband did was organize all the sectors in the barangays. And when I say all, it was really all. Meaning to say even those who were street vendors, even those who were engaged in the laundry business, mga labandera, even those who were engaged in menial jobs were organized. Because when they were organized, they were actually given a voice and a platform.
Energy Secretary Jericho Petilla asks President Aquino to declare a state of emergency over the Philippines' limited power supply. Petilla says an impending shortage will hit the country the summer of 2015. He adds the country may go on red alert, which means an insufficient supply of energy. Luzon was earlier placed on yellow alert 5 times from January to June this year and 3 times on red alert from May to June. Dutch investigators finally gained access to the crash site of the MH17 Monday to inspect the bodies of victims. The area is under control of pro-Russian Ukrainian rebels. The corpses were loaded on a refrigerated train coach, with each wagon carrying a total of more than 200 corpses. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte says the Dutch would be coordinating the task of identifying the 298 dead from Thursday's crash. Rutte adds the priority is to move the bodies to Kiev-controlled territory. He says, "We want our people back." Pro-Russian rebels are believed to have shot down the plane. The rebels earlier said they moved the bodies of the victims, quote, out of respect for the families. As international anger grows, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry lays out, quote, extraordinary circumstantial evidence that Ukrainian rebels shot down the jet with weapons from Russia. Kerry says U.S. intelligence is convinced a sophisticated SA-11 missile system was used to bring down the plane. Speaking to CNN, Kerry says the Ukrainians, quote, did not have such a system anywhere near the vicinity at that point in time. He adds, it's clear that Russia supports the separatists. The tragedy of MH17 hits us here at home. A Filipino mother and her family were on their way to a reunion in the Philippines on board that Malaysia Airlines plane. Pia Renada reports its impact affects many more lives.
Irene Pabellon Gunawan was excited to see her siblings in the Philippines. With her Indonesian husband Hadiono, 20-year-old son Daryl, and 15-year-old daughter Cheryl, they were all going to the Philippines to attend the family's yearly reunion. Daryl even posted on Instagram, off to the Philippines and Vietnam for a month. He had planned to go to Vietnam after the Philippines, but those plans ended abruptly. On July 17, their plane, Malaysia Air Flight MH17, was hit by a missile over Ukrainian airspace. Charred bodies lie in a refrigerated train while the metal scraps are still in the fields. Some 9,000 kilometers away, Irene's family in the sleepy town of Pagbilao in Quezon waits. Irene's siblings have been in a state of anxiety for days. They offer prayers and wait for news from the media or the government. Cheryl's clothes lie folded, ready to be worn. The room reserved for the Netherlands-based family remains locked. Tirso Pabellon, Irene's older brother, says they've lost a sister and the pillar of their family.
Siya po ang taong hindi ko malilimutan kahit sa huling sandali. Dahil siya ang naging breadwinner ng family. Lahat ng pamangkin na hindi namin kayang paaralan hanggang sa mataas na antas, ay siya ang nagpuno ng lahat para makatapos yung mga pamangkin. Mahilig siya magpaaral ng mga pamangkin. Mahal niya ang pamilya namin. Bago ang lahat, pamilya muna ang inuuna na niya bago ang kanyang sarili.
Kim, Irene's nephew, still has his aunt's favorite mug and lighter in their house down the road.
Ang huli po naming usap noon ay nung Lunes po yata hindi ko natanda, pero bago pa po siya mawala, bago siya sumakay sa eroplano, ang huling usap namin noon ay mag-iinuman kami. Sabi niya, I'm so proud of you, Kim, kasi mas inuna mo yung mga research papers mo.
In the living room, a model airplane reminds them of the tragedy.
Ilang tao yung namatay. Bawat isang pamilya doon ang namatay. 10 doble ang nagmamahal doon. Gano'n yan, hindi kaya ng isang eroplano yan, isa ka. Yung pinakamalaki. Ganoon. Buong mundo ang nasaktan pati.
Their loved ones gone forever, the Pabellons at least want answers.
Wala po kaming sinisisi kasi nangyari na. Pero kung meron po, yun naman po ay responsibilidad na ng gobyerno. Kumbaga, sana tumulong sila na malaman kung sino ang may gawa, kung sino ang may kasalanan sa nangyari sa mga inosenteng pasaherong sakay ng eroplano.
Pia Renada, Rappler, Pagbilao, Quezon.
Jakarta Governor Joko Widodo, or Jokowi, and running mate Yusuf Kalla lead the official tallies nearly 2 weeks after Indonesia's tightly contested presidential race. Though not final, the provincial tallies from the General Elections Commission, or KPU, showed Jokowi and Kalla with a lead of almost 8.5 million votes over rival ticket Prabowo Subianto and Hatta Rajasa. These findings are consistent with credible election day quick count saying Jokowi would win. The camp of former General Prabowo earlier asked that the announcement of results be postponed after the Election Supervisory Agency, or Bawaslu, said it detected polling irregularities in Jakarta. The agency asked the KPU to investigate the suspected violations. The Prabowo camp warns it will report the KPU to the police if it pushes through with the announcement of results despite the allegations of fraud. It's the bloodiest single day in Gaza in 5 years. At least 100 Palestinians and 13 Israeli soldiers were killed in an Israeli assault on Shijaya near Gaza City Sunday. The Palestinian death toll soars to 438 as Israel ramps up its military offensive, prompting the UN Security Council to open emergency talks to address the escalating violence. Late Sunday, the Council appealed for an immediate ceasefire while UN Chief Ban Ki-moon urged Israel to, quote, exercise maximum restraint. As war rages, experts say children suffer the most. At least 73 children have been killed by Israeli fire on the Gaza Strip. UNICEF says children make up 1/3 of civilian casualties in the conflict. More than half of the children killed are under the age of 12. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 8, a loneliness epidemic among younger adults in Britain. Well, this comes a month after the Office of National Statistics found Britain to be the loneliness capital of Europe. In a report, The Guardian says loneliness is a greater concern among young people than the elderly. The Guardian cites the close relationship between loneliness and mental health problems like increased stress, depression, and anxiety. And while social media allows instant communication, young people may withdraw socially when they expect to have idealized versions of their friends' lives as portrayed on social media. At number 9, Maroon 5 lead singer Adam Levine is officially off the market. Levine married Namibian model Behati Prinsloo in Mexico Saturday. U.S. Weekly reported around 300 guests attended the wedding. Levine and Prinsloo started dating in June 2012. After a brief split-up in March 2013, the two reconciled. Levine proposed to Prinsloo in July 2013. And at number 10, Prince George shows he's gotten the hang of walking. Prince William and Duchess Kate released a photo of the future king to mark his first birthday Tuesday. The little boy wearing striped dungaree shorts over a navy blue top was photographed confidently on his feet with his arms outstretched and his eyes fixed on his destination. A low-key party at the family home at Kensington Palace will mark the occasion. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and viewers the most emotionally. If you take a look, these 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. Take a look here. It's an interesting day today. We see the fast facts on Iglesia ni Cristo's Philippine arena. Interestingly, 35% annoyed, 46% happy, interesting, 5% inspired. Right after that, Aquino, 50,000 INC members in largest theater on earth, 33% annoyed, 44% happy. That happy brought out in the mood of the day. The story that's gotten the most number of votes is actually a thought leader's piece by Sylvia Claudio, addressed to Dear Juan Ponce Enrile. It's an eyewitness. It's what she's lived through in her life, a letter to Enrile. You have 64% happy. That green bringing out the mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. Well, that is Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, July 21, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.